What is up, guys? It's Verns back here again with another Supercoach video. This time, it's the round 15 review, and it is probably my worst week in history. Like, oh my goodness. That's right, that isn't a glitch. That isn't last week's score. That isn't week 11 score, or whatever it was where everyone had awful weeks. I scored 1635. I know. I over doubled my current season rank, and I talked about it last week how I messed up the season and things just weren't going right. And honestly, I'd already started looking at plans for next year, but this week really summed it up that yep, my season's cooked. It's so cooked. To get a round rank of 132,000, that is absolutely mental. I actually can't believe I even did that. So, look, I'm going to try and focus a little bit more on my cash leagues, I guess, because, overall it's pretty cooked for me, and I'm in decent standings in my cash leagues, saying that, you still need to complete a team and do all those good things, and I'm still behind the curve for those that honestly were playing for cash leagues and played a bit more defensive and made a bit more money. But yeah, we messed up the year. It was a bad year. It didn't work out well. Such is life. Yeah, we had a lot of terrible scores. We'll go over it in just a second. Wait, you know what? We'll go over it and we'll do the game day squad stuff at the end. So stick around at the end if you want to listen to that. But yeah, this is the team. Anyone that has tuned in, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I completely understand if you're not liking and subscribing for this consistent injections of Supercoach content directly into your Supercoach feed. What I was looking at, my trades are already there, so you might as well see them. I'm going to be getting in Sam Darcy. That's the plan. But yeah, this week was awful. We had, Clark score had the count, Kako score had the count. Those scores, they had the count for me on field. We got the 10, we got some really bad scores here as well. We got Steele's 56, Rosie's 80 was pretty unders, Cherry's 80, but everyone probably copped that. And then Sinclair's 65. Now, what topped it off was this Whitfield 16. I captained Whitfield. I know. Oh, anyone that follows my Twitter, you would have seen it already, but I am done captaining GWS players. I captained Tom Green last year. The only GWS player I captained last year, Tom Green, and he got injured on 8. This year, my first time captaining a GWS player, injured on 16. Well, they scaled down from 19, but still just... I say it every year. I'm not picking GWS players because they always get injured or do this to me, and not only do I pick them, but then I put the captaincy on them, and I cry about it. My goodness. Sorry, I've actually got a cough really bad. Give me one sec. Okay, should be back. But yeah, I'm so angry about that. A 16. Oh my god. It's been a rough year. It's been a rough year for Supercoach. The positives were my captaincies were so good. I was probably averaging 140 up to this point, and then this 16, it's just going to tank me down to a 130 average, maybe 125 average, something really bad, but look, it is what it is. Oh well. Bont went massive, and we obviously don't own him. We kind of expected it, but we had to wait for him to get cheap. I said this a few weeks ago, but I didn't actually plan on getting Bont. But at the end of the day, Bont was going, he's going to get so cheap that I can get him. He's going to be too expensive for me to get when he's over 600k. 550, I thought was going to be more affordable, but let's be honest, he's going to probably go up from what he's on now. 580 is probably the cheapest we're going to see him at. So it's either get him this week or try and get him next week, which I should be able to do with a Carroll. Carroll got dropped. Oh man, that does not bode well for me. But the plan was Carroll down and Sligo up to get Bont. That was at least the plan. Carroll going down to 99k, should put 130k, put that on top of Sligo. We're pushing it, actually. I don't even know if we make that anymore, because now Bont's got, he's going to go up in price. I need Sydney to hold him to, his break-even for me to even try and get this. Saying that, Sligo has, a 60 break-even, so hopefully he can earn some cash, and we can make that trade. With my trades this week, as you saw, it's going to be May and Darcy in for Kako and Clark. Puts me down to 5 trades. Next week, Sligo up to Bont will put me down to 3. I have 22 premiums, though, so it's not the end of the world. I think Darcy's really, really good. The only thing here is I'm missing Mills. who's also been really, really good and has a really good role and has kind of justified me trading out Roberts because now Roberts has lost that role that made him so good. Sorry, guys, getting so hiccupy. Sorry, trying to speed through this again as I normally do. I say I try to speed through it. That's what I normally do. What I also normally do is fail to speed through it and make it way too long. I haven't really talked about the games or anything. I guess the other thing is I did VC Clark. So VC Clark for this 119. And you know, if it was that 1 point more, that 120, I'd probably take it. But I see 119 and I go, nah. Even though I took like a 126 a couple of weeks ago, things like that where it's like, really, is it that big of a deal with points? And anytime I haven't locked in basically a 120 plus, then that captain I would have gone has failed. And this was the worst example of it. And this is why you do take a good VC score, because you don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes a player can come out and get injured, and it's just really unfortunate. And Gold Coast historically have been giving up massive points. They'd given up, like that 140, the Sinclair or whatever. They had some really good games. I think Zorko dropped like a 140 on them as well. No, I think Zorko plays them soon. Either way, Gold Coast were giving up massive points to defenders. I'll be honest, when I looked at it, I just did it this super lazy way. I just went here, and I just went, okay, let's go through the recent history. Let's see how Gold Coast is gone. They had a bye this week, actually. But basically, I think 3 out of these 4 weeks, they gave up really big points. Yeah, Holmes goes 150 on them, so, yep. I mean, defender, but you also have, like, O'Connor going, like, 130. I mean, Henry, though, really big. Stewart, really big. I was like, yep, massive points to defenders. Look, I think nobody's doubting this. I think that the Whitfield thing made sense. Yeah, Clark with the 143. Ryan even on 99 when he hasn't been that great this year, but yeah, massive score again. And then we had Sinclair, I think around 11 goes like 130 plus on them, 140 or something. So that's just what they do. They give up points to defenders. Yeah, Sinclair 143, Nass 126. Really good points to defenders, and that's why I picked obviously Whitfield going, yep, this is going to be a good game for him, and just didn't work out. So that's really, really, really tilting. I mean, yeah, I guess that's it, guys. It's pretty quick at the end of the season, so I'll just quickly go over my captains for this year. Sorry, for this round. I think it's Nick Dacos VC. I think he's the highest scorer in my team, so I'm going to put the VC on him and not take anything before it, not get baited into that. And then after that, what comes after that? I'm not going to captain Saligo or Rankin. So then it comes down to Freo, St. Kilda. Clark should score pretty decent against Freo. I think Freo's mids also give up points, so Steele could score decent and Sinclair could score decent. It's hard to put the C on these guys, though, after they just had those awful games. But outside of that, Sinclair's been really good. Clark's been at least consistent, so if Dacos flops, you're at least probably getting like a 100 plus, which isn't quite what we want, but you would think that at least. But hopefully Dacos just works out and I don't have to think about it. So, yay, let's go for that. Alright, so I guess, yeah, that's my Supercoach stuff. I don't really like anything else before this. Going into Wits, nah, Cherry, and I don't know, Utah's actually, that's not the worst. Utah's is small and Meek does give up points, but yeah, Dacos I think will just be the highest scorer, so I'm just going to put the money on that. Alright, well, let's jump into some game day squad stuff. Now, look, game day squad, obviously the Contenders is the one that we're focusing on. This was actually a really dope week for us in reality. Look, we came like 56th. We only get 3 common card pack, and I sat there thinking, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna get anything. You don't think you're gonna get anything. You see a gold and you be like, yeah, whatever. Blakey actually traded for, not got, but traded to get him. But what I popped, very first card, was a gold Noah Anderson. Let's go! Dude, that's so good, man! That's so good, a gold Noah Anderson! Obviously, his score I didn't get it this week, but I'm going to get it coming into this week, and oh, I'm so hyped for that. That's such a good pull. The team's probably looking a little bit wacky this week, so the way I've been doing this is, let's just sort of put, God, can I split this well, or is that bad? Nah, that didn't split very well. More or less, though, it's just like, I look at the fixture. You can't see the fixture on... I'm going to go throw it over here. Can't see the fixture on my screen, but, I look at the fixture. I, see Port into Carlton, and I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I want Butters or Rosie, because one of them probably gets chinkotted. It's probably Rosie, but that means Butters probably goes bananas. I don't know if I want to risk that, though. Saying that, Sydney do have James Jordan, which you could go to either one of these guys, or even Dale, which doesn't feel good either. Um, yeah, I guess with the guys I picked, obviously I did mention I really like, Clark into St Kilda. I also, I like Ryan into St Kilda as well. I had a massive one this week. I think this week, disappointingly, I actually didn't bring Clark into my team. I VC'd him thinking he was going to have an elite score, and I was really tempted to, but it was hard to go away from someone like Holmes, who had a really good week. But yeah, lost myself some points there, so I could have had a bit of a better ranking. Sitting 38th overall, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, there's a lot of big players missing this week. A lot of big players. So yeah, I like the Saints boys. I like the Freo boys. Sheasel's just been in good form. It's not really the role or anything special. It's just he's been in hot form. And I think this game mode suits him a bit more because he just needs to touch the ball. Doesn't have to be effective with it. Blakey. I think with Roberts out of that back line, Blakey actually gets a better role with Mills. I think they have maybe better synergy, or they go use Blakey more. But yeah, I think that's why I'll go for Blakey. I also got him in silver because I made some trades for him, which was cool. Dale, Dale. I like Dale. Both the Dacoses, now that's because they are going into West Coast, so I think this is a good week to actually get some of those Magpie boys. Saying that, there's not too many that are fantasy crazy relevant. DCAM's obviously in there, and this is probably the unique one going in Tom DeConing. I actually didn't even check to see if Pitnet's named. I will check that right now. You know what? I can do it here on this screen. AFL.com, whatever. Just get me to the website. Team lineups. What have we got here? Pitnet is out. Let's go. Yeah, that was super painful for anyone that had obviously DeConning last week. I actually didn't play DeConning last week because of the Pitnet news, but now that he's back out, I think Pitnet going into obviously Sweet, and I didn't even check if they're both there, Sweet or Vizentini. It doesn't really matter either way. I think he'll go mental. I've got him in silver too, so the points buff is nice. I think DCAM's going to go massive, and I already talked about the other rucks. I think having a bit of a harder matchup, so yeah, I think they're really good. I'm pretty happy with them. I did have DCAM last week, which was a very nice boost, a bit of a pod pick for me there. Yeah, I had some really good pods last week. I almost wish I kept the team, but I would have kept it if I did the recording earlier in the week, but I just didn't. And I wish I did that pack opening with everyone, but I just didn't. But still, the Nando's really sick, nevertheless. Dawson obviously makes sense in the Richmond. Yeah, if you want to target, I think, obviously want to target Pies guys. I think Richmond guys, I like the defenders going into each other for this St Kilda Freo game. And then I think Gold Coast Melbourne isn't the worst. So hopefully Nando runs free there. Hopefully they don't tag him. I mean, Melbourne are kind of tagging every week, but I'm kind of hoping Clary goes to Rowell and they sort of do it that way instead. Definitely possible. But yeah, Dawson obviously a no-brainer. McRae was really good again this week. Jackson obviously a no-brainer there too, especially into Marshall. Pickett's probably a bit of a questionable one, but I like it. Darcy, I think, should go big. He's just so talented. Same with Kennedy, really, really good in this format. And then, yeah, Rankin and Keys. So, really trying to take advantage of that Tigers matchup. Yeah, I think the team's solid. I hope it does all right. Yeah, I mean, we have enough room for another silver and gold, but I just don't have those cards. It'll be nice to get Klug back next week, so I'll have Klug and Nando in the middle. But then it makes it really hard to choose the other four. You just got to sort of pick it off matchups. And that's what I do like about this, is that you kind of look at players, you pick it off matchups, so I feel like you're not always playing the same players, but you're also sort of changing it every week. Yes, you want to pick the best players. I didn't actually fill Bont last week, which was a bad antipod. Did go Richards. That was silly of me, but yeah, I kind of like the team this week, and I think it'll be a unique week for it too. I think we're missing a lot of core players, so I think people are going to go really interesting in there. I think forward lines are probably a bit more unique. Maybe. I guess these guys are pretty core guys. Ruck line, I think I'm a bit unique there. Hopefully we can find a way. I think the Josh Dacos is pretty unique. I think that could get me some extra points. I mean, Richards is the only one I kind of look at and be like, who else could I get? Like, Brayshaw was one I was looking at actually, but I was like, there's a good chance he takes the Windy tag, and I don't want to obviously play Brayshaw into Windy. So I guess that's my antipod of the week. You know, Brayshaw getting Windahagged. That didn't work last week for Nick Dacos, but oh well. I did go Cordwell, but obviously Cordwell's not playing this week. Pretty big antipod not bringing in Butters. Butters over Richards might be the better play, or even Rosie over Richards. It's probably bad of me to dodge one of those just for the potential tag. Um, yeah, hard to say. But yeah, that's the team, guys. I'll figure out if I'm going to go Richard or Rosie or Butter there. That's probably the only one that alternates, but I think it's going to be a good week, and hopefully we can keep doing well. Hopefully we can actually crack the top 20 and get, like a 9-player common pack. That would be really cool. Yay. Anyway, guys, I appreciate all those that did stay till the end of the video. I'm sorry my Supercoach season's going so shit. At least the game day squad stuff is fun, and I appreciate, as I said, all those for sticking around, for liking, subscribing, commenting, engaging with me, all those fun things. So till next time, guys, peace, later.